Okay, so hi everybody and welcome back to our show. We were away for a year, so it was a long waiting. Today we have Gili with us. She is. When I first mentioned her, I said Instagram influencer, and she wanted to kill me. So I'm not gonna say that again, ever again. But Gili is a photographer in the fashion industry and has built a crazy brand called Joy's World on using Instagram mostly.
Yes, mostly Instagram.
Right. And basically today she's gonna share with us insights and tips on how she built her business and how she's using Instagram to actually build it. And that was the most formal part of the show. I think this is it. This is where we get drunk and we make jokes. So, first of all, how are you?
I'm very good.
How is visiting Israel?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it here.
Yeah.
Seriously considering coming back.
Okay.
No, not really.
Not really.
Not
It's
really.
what you have to say, right?
Yeah.
When you do interviews abroad, you always have to say, you have to come to Israel.
It's really nice to visit. It's amazing to visit. It's beautiful here. The city have changed so much since I've last been here.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see everything change. It's just amazing.
It's great. It was great having you here. We
Yeah.
actually know each other way back,
Like from
15 years ago. 15. We're old enough to have 15
no,
years
no,
ago.
no, 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 not from 15 years ago. From when we were 15. That's better to say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 4 years ago. We
Yeah,
were 15.
4 years
We're
ago.
young.
We were
cool.
young. Yeah.
So I was really excited you came to visit. I'm really excited to have you with us.
Thank you.
Because like more than just being a dear friend, you've also built like an amazing brand using Instagram. And I think there's a lot of people these days who are trying to build a brand through Instagram. And influencers is now a big thing. We're gonna go into this in a minute.
All right. Yeah.
But I actually want you to kind of present yourself and what you do, because I want to see like the difference between what I just said and how you see it.
Well, I know that most people see me as a fashion blogger, an influencer. It's just things that I don't really ever hope to build, or it wasn't my aim at all.
Okay.
For me, I'm a photographer. That's what I do. Sometimes I take photos of myself, sometimes I take photos of others, and I share my photos online. And because of modern and technology or the way things are now, it's got the label fashion blogger. I'm a photographer. That's what I do.
So wait, before we're gonna dive into this, can everybody hear us okay? I think every show, one of the biggest problems we have is that people saying that the volume is too low and stuff like that. So if you can hear us, just write in the comments. By the way, Danny is here behind the camera. You don't see her, but she's the one making the magic happen. So every time somebody answers you, it's actually Danny, so don't freak out. And I want to thank you for doing this, because Danny's actually the one managing our lives. And it's amazing because you always, when you see somebody doing Facebook Live, you think it's like this one person just kind of putting it out there, everything's like raw.
No.
And we actually have like a microphone and 2 iPhones.
Loud and
two
clear,
computers.
by the way.
Loud and clear, first time ever.
Good.
Enjoy.
Okay.
You are
So-
just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So starting way back, because you're a photographer, you didn't want to be like an influencer. This is how you started.
It's not
Where-
that I didn't want to do that. It wasn't the plan. It wasn't my aim. I did like, okay, I want to be a fashion.
So where
blogger.
did you start?
Well, I started. Well, I always liked photography. I always liked taking photos of things. And about 7 years ago, I moved to Florence to study. Came to study something completely different. I studied structural engineering. And I needed to get a job to finance my school. And I got a job as a photographer in the nightlife of Florence, which was interesting. I did it for about a year. And after a while, I got, Italy is fashion all over.
Right.
And I got this random opportunity to go to Milan to basically follow around this Israeli fashion blogger. And that's how things started
How
basically.
did you do the blog? Can you just-
I just sent her an email. I just saw her stuff. I saw she's an Israeli fashion blogger. I saw that she meets a photographer in Milan. I told her it's one train away. For me, it's an hour and a half drive to Milan. I'll crash on your couch and I'll shoot you. For me, it was I had no experience. I had no portfolio. I had no just went there and slept on my friend's couch. And from there, things just got weird. Yeah.
So like I think earlier when we discussed, we said something about is it luck or is it, you said it's not luck. And I think one of these things, or like if a key insight that you can take right away, is you taking action. Like it's not like
Yeah,
you were there and somebody said,
No,
oh,
no,
you're
no,
amazing.
no.
You basically found this opportunity to
Oh,
go
God.
step forward.
I wish it was that easy. I wish I would
Okay.
wake up and I would be like Paris on the runway. That would be amazing. But it didn't happen that way. It was luck, maybe luck that the girl answered me that day, and that day I had a good mood of being really crazy and just take a train and go to Milan. But it was definitely taking an action, doing the crazy thing, and being completely random. And even in Milan, it's not like I took the train, arrived in Milano Città, the train station, and just from there, like, oh, somebody took me and like, you're gonna be a runway photographer.
Right.
Even from there, it was walking the streets, trying to talk to people, trying to get PR officers to invite you to fashion shows, sending so many emails. It wasn't that fast.
So you did a fashion blogger, the Israeli fashion blogger, and then you basically started trying to book like PR firms.
Yes.
How did you start trying to get like jobs and opportunities?
When I got to Milan, well, basically when I got to Italy, I didn't know anyone. It was a completely blank page. I didn't know one person. And when I got to Milan, I had one friend. She was student in finance. She didn't help me at all. She's the nicest person, but she couldn't help me. Basically I googled. We googled things, and I sent one email and they said, well, we can't help you, but maybe this person will help you. Send an email to this person. And they couldn't help us. Send an email to another person, and we end up in that fashion week going into 3 shows,
Wow,
which
okay.
then was like, oh wow, 3 shows in 1 week was amazing. If I do only 3 shows in a day today, that would be very disappointing for me. So yeah, it was amazing. It was super exciting, and it was for me like the greatest achievement.
So you were at the event, you were taking photos from the runway show, and what do you do with, like, I'm trying to connect this into your Instagram personality. When did it come to play?
Well, I started everything just a bit before because I was inspired by other girls doing the same thing, and I noticed that I post photos of things that I shoot, and I got likes and people are commenting just a little bit. I got like 100 likes, and I was super excited. 100 people liked my photo. It was amazing. And one day I put a photo of me in a bikini, and that photo was bam, like 200 likes, and it was amazing. And I've noticed that if I share more of my personal style and my personal experience, people get more curious about it than if I post photos that I shoot
Okay.
that are
Like
more
you
general.
being your own model has a better impact than just.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think from that I realized that people they like more the personal story when they look on Instagram, and they look more to get connected to a person, to an image, to a human being that is behind all that
Right.
the stories. And then I realized that that's fun. It's fun that people like what you do. It's fun that people like the photos, and I started posting more and more photos of myself. And during Fashion Week, when I posted more and more, I got more likes and more comments and
On fashion weeks, you focus on what you shoot, not you.
both.
Okay.
I put both together from my outfit that I wore that day, the models that I shoot in backstage or on the runway, and I still do that today when I shoot runways and when I shoot fashion weeks. So it's a lot of things. It's basically my real day that I experienced that day during Fashion Week.
So basically taking this from random photos to kind of storytelling, whatever you're doing.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So that's what you feel like was the biggest difference.
Yeah, I think that was when people could relate to the whole thing, that what I did at that time or that day or what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like that's where things got interesting, I guess, for other people as well.
So basically you shoot up the PR office and said, hey, there's 3 fashion shows this week. Went there, took the pictures, send them the pictures because they're in the PR agency and you have to send them the pictures obviously. And then you started posting those as well to Instagram?
Yes, I posted them on Instagram, posted them on my website. I did a stuff through Joyce magazine,
So wait.
which an online space to put my photos.
Just as a portfolio, like for you.
Yeah. It started. It was completely random. This was it.
Where did the name come from?
A mistake I made. I thought it was really stupid. I just decided that's the name. Gili in Hebrew means joy. That's why it's Joy's World, and that way it was Joy's Magazine. I call the magazine. I guess wanted to sound more serious, but just I think it was like maybe 2 months ago that somebody came to me and was like, today fashion bloggers are like yesterday's fashion journalists. That they get stuff to test and they post it as like an online magazine. You feed me stories. So in retrospect, it was a good idea, but it wasn't planned at all.
Right. Because it turned into this curator, like a bit of storyteller, like
an online, like a fashion magazine.
Yeah, instead of like you being you, basically you kind of like positioned yourself in a way this can actually grow because it's a magazine, so people expect you to have different kind of articles.
It came out later. It's just
okay.
like it was. I guess it was that what people wanted, and I felt like
That's what people wanted from the magazine to be.
I assume, yeah. I felt like that people were like, oh, when is your next post? When are you doing the next show? When are you doing the next fashion post or talking about fashion? And I felt like it was more people asking me to do that than I was like, oh, I'm just going to post it there and somebody's going to watch it. It was more like people asking like, oh, okay, well, put something out there.
So how did you get from the point where you go from, hey, I want to put some pictures online, to the situation people say, hey, when are you posting your next thing? Can you?
I'll be completely like.
Be honest. If it's random, that's also.
It's not modest. It was right away.
Okay.
The first show that I shot was D'Alberto Ferretti, and it was a mistake. We got in there by mistake. It wasn't planned. We weren't invited. We didn't sneak in as well. It was just like the most random. That was like more in the right place in the right time, and we kind of walked in, and I kind of walked to the front stage photographers, and they're like, "Can I stand here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I shot the show, and apparently, I guess there were good photos. Then people asked me, "Oh, when is the next show? What are you doing next?" And it just.
You just wanted to see more. And who was like your first followers? Who were like your first audiences? Were there random people saying, "Hey, we like what you do," or they're part of the industry?
Both. Still today, it's both. It's today I get, I don't know, I get some amazing fashion designer following me, and I'll get super excited. And I'll see, oh my God, this guy's following me now, and I love the shows, and I'll get just random people, girls, guys.
Okay, so when you first uploaded your photos, did you send them out to somebody, or just posted them and said like whatever?
Both. I did. I really believe when you begin, you have to shoot to all directions. I kind of see it as like a guy go to a club and hit on 100 girls. One girl will say yes. So you send your emails.
So
and
this is another tip for you guys.
I think that's the best tip.
Out of 100, you get one. So.
Oh well, in the beginning you'll get one, but if once you get better on hitting on girls.
I don't think we're gonna go that route.
No, okay.
One.
So I think in the beginning.
Don't be greedy. Pick one.
In the beginning, well, that's not really the best advice for business.
No. For
girls,
picking up girls, pick one. Be a good person.
When I started, I sent so many emails, and even when I got a no, I was like, wow, somebody at Chanel read my email and they said no, but they answered me with, I felt like so much
a real
honor.
person
Yeah, a real better person. I was like, thank you, but we're sorry, due to limited the space edition, or I don't know, something like that. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And I would get
sending him a gift basket just for saying no.
Oh yeah. I would be really happy that I got this attention from somebody at Chanel. And out of 100 emails, I got one yes, and that yes was enough for me when I started. And as I get better, and in the years I get better in creating content and have more followers or whatever is important for brands, and more likes and more attention, of course.
More people say yes.
Yeah.
So I love it that you focused on this, because we discussed this, I think 2 days ago we spoke about it, and you said like, hey, what do you want to talk about on the show? And I said, I kind of want to hear the story and how to get attention. And you said like, listen, I don't want to bum you out, but there's no like magic trick. It's just like a lot of hard work.
No, yeah.
And I was excited to hear that, because I think, especially in the fashion industry, because everything has to be glamorous with your accounts and everything. You have to always be like the it girl. Everything. So people don't imagine that hard work.
No. It's terrible. It's terrible. Follow my stories during Fashion Week, and then you'll see that I don't look like a happy person. I don't wear glamorous, and it's a lot of hard work every day, not just during fashion seasons. And it's beside the physical hard work, the actual technical engaging. It's so much. I work more hours than the average person, definitely.
So how does your day? How does your work day look like?
I don't have. That's the thing. I don't have like a routine work day. Some work days that will be just reading emails, just answering emails the whole day. It will be like probably at least once, twice a week that I'll just have to answer emails, and I have to be very, very boring day. Putting my glasses and just like it'll be the most boring day to follow my stories. And some days I will be walking the red carpets and shooting front row or front of house photography, and it will be amazing. Like yesterday was a great day. So there were 2 amazing models, and we did an amazing fashion shoot. But that's not an average day. Well, it will be the same tomorrow, but it's not normally like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you say that basically doesn't matter what industry you are. There's a lot of emails and there's hard work and outreaching.
Absolutely.
So just basically, I know we have a lot of fashion bloggers and a lot of fashion Instagram influencers who will be watching this or watching this right now. I think it's very important because a lot of people think you're just gonna post your shit up.
No, absolutely not.
And like everything will be cool.
No. Nothing will be cool. For anyone. I mean, people would, even like, I don't know, take the most crazy person on Instagram, I don't know, Kim Kardashian, okay? Even for her, okay, she will post a photo and right now she will have so many likes and comments and everything, but that's because she have exposures in other channels. And if she would not have exposures in other channels, nobody would care. And if my main channel is Instagram, I have to get as much exposure and I have to work on that. It's not some gift that Instagram is giving me. Not at all, yeah.
So can you share with us some of the tricks or some of the tactics you use to get more exposure, to get more followers?
Of course. I think the first thing that I think is the most important, well, there's 2 things that are the keys, in my opinion, is first of all, know your audience. The audience that actually follows you, the audience that actually looking at your photos, and the audience that you think that they want your product. Whether if your product is the photos that I create or the photos that I do for myself, or if your product is a bag or sunglasses or high heels, okay? When you know your audience, you need to see what other content they're liking and what other content they're following. And
so you would go into their profiles and see what it is?
Yes, I would definitely see girls that are doing more or less what I do. I would see what works for them. I would see what photos they're making and what.
You see like the engagement on the
The
photo.
engagement on the photos, absolutely. And the other key the most important thing is creating quality content, which is the most. It's so hard. People like. It's so hard to create constantly good content and constantly posting, but that's the most important. If you're not going to create something interesting.
So how do you go about your content? We've got this one of the most popular questions we got was like, how does she have so amazing photos on Instagram? One of the things that if you and you should go right now, Joy's World is on Instagram at Joy's World and an underline. You would see like the photos that you take or the photos you post are not Instagrammic in the classic version, because usually people in the fashion would still do a very much iPhone shoot, edit on something on the app. Most of them, that's the way it feels.
Yeah.
And yours is totally not that way.
No, I'm a photographer and I'm keeping it that way. Well, I'm an image creator, even if I don't actually take the snap, it will probably be my husband, which is my rock and my human tripod. And I always set the camera, I always set the scene, pick my outfit, and we shoot. I have to give credit to the amazing photographers that I work with, because I do work with really, really, really great image creators from around the world. You see my Paris photos, they are just
If you want to name drop, you can. Or if not, it's okay.
Hi, Joanna. Joanna from Paris, Sweet Love.
So, okay, so let's say do you do like shooting days and you create like a stock of photos? Do you do like randomly day to day? How do you approach it?
Well, I used to do that when I started. I was influenced by other girls that are doing the same, that they basically or take the car or take a bag packed with dresses and heels, and they'll take one photographer and they'll do a shooting day. I don't do that much anymore, and if I'll do it, if I'll set a time and day with a photographer, it will always be, that's my real outfit for the day. That's actually what I wear. Even what I wear now.
Yeah.
It's like something that I would wear day to day. So usually when it's not a lot, but when I shoot in Florence, it will be what I wear that day when I go to work or when I do what I do and then we shoot. Because I have a lot of adventures, I do a lot of interesting things, then it's easy to create photos. Like when last I was in Paris and it was for Hot Week, and it was an interesting event, yeah.
So that's also an interesting angle, because I guess for most people starting out, they don't have anything. Like like we talked about in the stories thing, the day that you sit down in your emails, you know, we always joke about this because in the days that we really work intense with clients, the only photo we'll take is like the coffee shot, like on the desk.
These are great. I mean, just looking around this office, there's so many. Like I saw Danny's Instagram page.
Yeah.
I love the simplest ones. Like one of my favorite Instagrammers doing the day-to-day stuff, and I think they're really interesting. And creating a good image, it can be.
Yeah.
And really, like the plant,
beautiful plant.
It can be anything.
Yeah. So how I know it's kind of building on the same question, but like, so you have your day. How, like, you create a lot of content first of all.
Yes, I do.
You create a lot of high quality content. Can I say it's not an iPhone shot?
No, definitely not. Oh, that's a question.
Okay.
No, I shoot with a Canon camera. It's a 5 DSR. It is really expensive. The lens is really expensive, but all my equipment, it's not used. I didn't buy it to get a better Instagram photo. No, I bought a camera so I can take.
Because a photographer.
Because a photographer, that's my job. You can get really amazing photos just using an iPhone these days. I don't have an iPhone, but I use my camera most of the time. But yeah, I think like to create really good content, you do need a good camera, you need a good equipment, you do need you need a good light. That's I think the key for taking a good shot.
Do you have any tips for photographers or people who want to create better content for Instagram right now? Like, what they should take notice and is it improved on the day-to-day?
I think you need to just know the basic of photography. Photography is just the lens grabbing light, and the more accurate, the more beautiful light you have, the better your shot will be. I can have the most beautiful girl in the world, and the light will be terrible, and the shot will be just a disaster. And that's including shows, backstage, everything. You can have a supermodel, and I can have a pot or a ring or something that is very, very simple, and I will have an amazing light, and I will catch it, and it will be really beautiful. I think light is the key for photography. So when you shoot, I think the best it would just to find a really, really good natural light, obviously, because most people cannot create artificial light nicely. Yeah. The other really good tip that I still do every day, well, not every day, most days, is YouTube videos, how to create better photos in this specific style, that style, and these YouTube videos help me a lot. I don't have anyone specific to
Okay, so like basically you see a good tip or somebody's doing something interesting,
Yes.
instead of how to do that,
Yes,
and then you go and basically test it out as a
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah, definitely. I try to put my own personal spin on it. Obviously, I cannot recreate something that somebody else did because that would be just boring. But these videos really help, even for professional photographers. Yeah.
You know, that's an interesting question because a lot of the people, you can approach like what. No, I'm gonna rephrase this. If I would go into your Instagram account and try to analyze what you do as a brand, let's call it a brand for a second, then you you can ask yourself, is this a fashion brand or a photographer brand? And taking this into fashion bloggers or there's fashion bloggers and there's kind of influencers, wannabes. Wannabes doesn't mean that they're not, but it means that that's their target.
Who do they influence?
So
that's the key question. Like, okay, you call yourself an influencer. Who are those people?
So usually, in Israel, there's a few ones. I guess it's like the Neta one, Meir, whatever.
Might be.
I know
she's really beautiful. She's young. She's gorgeous. She's
right, but
she's really
no,
amazing. Not every girl.
No, of course.
Like that.
But there's like a huge strand now of girls who are basically really good looking, and like it's easier to take a good photo of yourself when you're really good looking.
Of course.
Yeah. And basically they grab attention. So I think there's two parts. There's some girls who are just really beautiful, so they grab attention because they're beautiful, right? And there's a lot of them who actually work really hard in keywords research and hashtags and liking and following, and they actually do the work to get attention. But the product basically is them being young and beautiful, and they're influencers just by the fact that they get 10,000 likes per photo. They have 250,000 followers. So the influencer means, for Coca-Cola or for any brand, says, well, basically, should get this amount of attention, grab like a bottle of whatever we're selling, grab it, and for them that would be like the influencer report, which I think, by the way, most of the time doesn't work.
It's for a brand like Coca-Cola because it's cheap to grab a bottle of Coke. But if I'm working with a brand that sell a bag for €1,000 and all my followers are 14 years old, it's not going to help.
Exactly.
Or your followers. This is really the key. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you have 500,000 followers, but they're all. It's not your target audience.
Right.
You really need to know how to target, and also it's like very personal. Maybe those girls, they don't care if they sell a bottle of Coke. They sell, I don't know, Zara or the factory. I don't know what or something. What is your target?
Right. So
it's
one
really important.
So one of the things, so I heard this interview about a guy who owns like an agency for influencers, and he said basically if you give Exhibit, the rapper, if you give him the hip hop artist, if you give him, for example, a nutrition product to recommend, it's not going to move the needle. No one's going to go and buy it because he said that it works, because no one believes him. He has no credibility.
Credibility is like
as a nutrition expert or like a bodybuilder or whatever. Though he recommend like a hip hop album, plugins for their studio, you'll see the sales going up, spike up. Now, so I think that's really interesting because a lot of those people who are influencers so generic, and this is, by the way, one of the biggest problems celebrities have now these days, because you have a lot of niche influencers which can actually make an impact, versus the Justin Biebers of the world that everybody knows that everything they kind of do is sell them shit, and that you kind of don't trust them anymore.
Yes.
Right. But going back to the original thing, so for girls or men, I guess, that want to be like that are Instagram influencers, you would see that most of what they do is take pictures of themselves, usually using an iPhone, because okay, you know what, this is a philosophical question. Is the iPhone photo, is it a profession versus
if they make money out of it and they manage to have their life, then why not? I don't see anything. I mean, there's worse professions in the world than this, and I think maybe one thing that I hate the most is people saying, "Oh, what you're doing is superficial," and those people what do for a living is I don't know, working and doing sales. And the small is the same thing. It's for me, it's like doing sales. And if it works for them, and it's a really beautiful girl, or it's not a beautiful girl, but she knows what she's doing, more power to them. That's great. But if you want to do that and you don't do that well and you don't understand what's wrong, then maybe that's the point that you have to see what you're doing wrong in your process. In my opinion, one of the problems now in the fashion industry is that there's too much attention about girls that are more interested in themselves than in the actual products. And I think that's it's a problem in many fields now, that a lot of people put their image or the photo in Instagram before the products, the actual product, they don't care about fashion.
For you, Instagram is basically a distribution channel versus like the goal.
it was never. It's fun for me. Instagram is fun. It's not my goal. It's not my main income. It is not my life. I'm not an Instagrammer. I don't call myself that. I'm not a fashion influencer. For me, it's a tool. It's a tool to take myself forward in.
Like if tomorrow there would be another photo-based platform that is doing really well, you might have moved there as well. Just because it's a better way to just because for you the focus is the best way to present your work versus being the best Instagrammer around.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. Well, I mean, Instagram is really time-consuming, but it works for many different things, which really helps me with my work as a photographer. Because even on fashion photography, people do look for the story behind that photographer.
Right.
And there's many stories of photographers that they're not the best in the field, but they're famous enough, and that's why they're taking to just stand behind the lens. They don't even take anything. Like most Vogue photographers and etc. I forget what I was going to say. Oh yeah. If it works, if you're taking a selfie and it works, awesome. When it doesn't work, that's why you have to see.
How do you think influencers like that differentiate themselves? Because your account is very unique. Because first of all, you are a photographer first, meaning that it's not just about the scene; it's about how you perceive it. It's about everything all comes together. So if somebody will look at your Instagram and say she's a fashion Instagram versus a photographer's Instagram, which one would you rather get?
I don't care. I honestly don't care. And for me, I'll tell you what. After I went to this first fashion week, my goal was to get the official accreditation from the main organization of the fashion industry as a photographer. For me, that was the actual professional stamp that I'm good and I can do this occupation. Once I got the accreditation, I'm an active member of the British Fashion Council, the National Chamber of Italian Fashion, and the French Fashion Federation. Once they all email me all the time about work and stuff that's going on, and I get invited, this is my real. That's what I care about. I don't care if somebody can call me a fashion blogger, call me an influencer, call me an Instagrammer. I don't care.
So you're talking about getting the work. You don't care about like the how big your account gets.
No. I
Only
don't.
if it converts to real work.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Right. I don't care. I mean, I get excited when I have an amazing PR company follow me, a fashion influencer, a fashion designer. Sorry, it will follow me. That's the one. The people that I'm looking for their official approval that I'm worthy of their follow on Instagram. And everybody else's follow, I really appreciate it. But I mean, if you like my stuff, follow. If you don't like my stuff, you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would you suggest to somebody who's trying on Instagram, Flickr, whatever, just to post their pictures as a photographer or as a model, whatever? How would you recommend them to start turning this from a hobby to a business in terms of like creating partnerships, in terms of reaching out to other companies? What kind of partnerships do you even do?
For me, the collaborations part or the work that I do with other brands, when I got first, like I didn't even email anyone. I just got the first. Somebody's like, oh, we're having this collaboration with fashion bloggers. We'll send you something. I was like, yeah.
How did they find you?
You send me. It came to me on Instagram, and I had my email address there, and then I was like, wow, that's awesome. I get free stuff. I don't just need to take photos. That was really cool. I'm talking about like 2 years ago.
Right. I know it's not your main concern, but how many followers did you have at the time?
I don't remember. It
No,
was
like,
very few. When I started, it was like, I don't know, 2000 maybe, something like that. It wasn't.
So they kind of saw your profile.
I think they like my photos. Yeah. It was just like sportswear, yoga brand, something like that.
Okay, use shirt, take a picture.
Yeah, and it was very exciting, and then I was starting to actively look for that, and I would email brands and introduce myself, saying what I'm doing. I'm still doing that today when I see some products that I'm interested in, like genuinely interesting. See, I recently have a collaboration with a perfume brand, a few perfume brands that I was really interested to see about how they work, but from genuine caring about the product. And I think that's the key. That's the best advice that I can get. It's like, are you there to be famous, or are you there to really care about fashion, or care about beauty products, or care about that? It's like once you really care about something, that's a thing where things.
Who do you email the company? Not like mail person, but what what is that? Marketing, head of brand. What do you know?
Most companies now would have like a social media person. For some brands it's hard to find, some brands it's easier to find. I think that you just need to find an email with somebody that will answer, and if they think that there's a potential, they'll make sure somebody would answer you.
Right.
Not
And
in cases, but in most cases.
so what would you say in the email? What kind of partnership would you see? Like, do you suggest a partnership, or you just like take a look and see what you want to do?
It depends. In these days, I don't know. The only times that I'll do it is when I really care and I really want to learn. Recently, I really got into perfumery and this more of the beauty part, and I'm trying to connect brands in that level. Then I will suggest a partnership. It's paid posts or finance posts, or if it's just like
Okay, so what kind of partnerships are there?
Fashion bloggers or content creators on Instagram now it really depends on how many followers you have. In the beginning, you can be like just a journalist and fashion magazine, the beauty magazine or any magazine will get free products from brands and designers, and you'll test them, you'll try them. If you like them, you post it, you talk about it in your Instagram stories, photos.
That's like the basic start level, where you basically cover for products.
Yes. Okay. When I talk with a lot of people in Israel, everybody's like, "Oh, I don't do free posts," and it's like, come on, nobody gets money on literally every post that you're doing. Sometimes you make posts and you don't make money on them.
Sounds like the entry level to a new company you want to work with. You better do the
No,
one because you or so.
Just because I enjoy doing it, because
Okay.
I like the product, I believe in the product. It's something that I really do use every day. It's something that I enjoy using, and I would love to share it with my followers. I do that often. I obviously don't get paid for every
Right.
post and every tag. I love sharing the things that I use every day. When I get to a level of communicating with a brand that is very good, we do talk about how I can help the company and how I can take the company, the brand or the designer forward, and then we can talk about my time as a photographer and how they can invest in my time as a photographer, that I create really beautiful photos for them, and that's in the level of what I can offer them
And
as
then
an
you do
artist.
like a photo shoot for them.
Yes, exactly, and those will be financed.
Okay, so the partnership goes from, it's not like from lowest to highest. It's just like different partnerships you can do, right? So
In
you
my
can look at the
opinion,
product for photo, just like send me the product in the photo.
Yeah,
You can do like a sponsored
yeah.
one post saying, hey, posted once on your.
Nobody will believe me if I will just, every brand that will be like,
Oh,
we'll
of
pay X
course.
amount of money to post,
course.
I don't know, some tea. Or
No, but you
something
should, let's say
like
that you filter and choose the ones that are interesting
Yes,
for you.
exactly. That I believe in.
But you would have like types of partnership. Take into consideration you believe in whatever partnership you're doing. You're not going to do something you don't care about.
Yes, exactly.
So that's like the first filter. The second one, you can have basically like a post per picture, like product per picture. You send a product and you take the picture basically, and that's the partnership. Another one can be we'll send you the product. We'll pay you X amount of money if you do if you post it.
For me, it's more about creating quality content for them, and I will of course post it, and it will have the exposure of my.
So just if you do like a photo shoot for the brand, not just like one picture of what they sent you.
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. It really depends. Every collaboration that I have is very personal. I don't believe. Well, I get a lot of stuff sent. I get a lot of stuff sent. I don't post nearly a quarter of it.
Right.
I only post the stuff that I actually tried. If you follow my Instagram stories, you can see even the cream that fits today, everything I share, and I truly say my opinion. I think the main thing about the things is the collaborations that I do for the long term. For example, the jewelry companies that I've worked with for about a year now, and I truly believe in what they're doing, and I think this is the key. A lot of fashion bloggers, they just post so much, and it's really fun to get free stuff, but you do lose the credibility, which is the most important thing.
So you would basically ask them or recommend them kind of do a long-term partnership strategy? Like saying thanks a few stuff, start a conversation with them, give value.
These are the most, for me, the most valuable collaborations in the end for they really personally enrich me in every way, and obviously will base my career on them. Like a big collaboration that I do now with a fashion designer from Florence, and we're going to create a full collection of 15 pieces together for me to wear for my next event, Fashion Weeks, to Milan, and Paris. And these are the ones that are the base for me.
For the partnership, for that bring in place. Okay, so basically the beginning, for newcomers, you would say, send emails to the companies you're interested in.
You don't want as many girls as you want. One girl will say yes.
Okay. And like be active and
absolutely.
And to people who, we talked about this earlier about like strategy, like on the strategy and how you kind of plan the brand out, and you said that there was, at the beginning there was no like focused plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think about it at all.
So if you would see us either a new photographer or an influencer, take pictures yourself. Pictures are okay. I'm gonna start with that.
Okay.
It's an easy one because I know the first thing is you're gonna say. The pictures are okay. They're good iPhone pictures. They're not good pictures in general.
Okay.
And they want to build a business out of it. Not just for being famous, but they want to actually build a business around their brand. What would you recommend them do?
Get better.
Get quality of the pictures.
Absolutely. I wasn't born a good photographer.
Right.
I do think that I have some talent in a basic way, but like I said, every day I'm learning, and every day I learn from other people, from other photographers, and if your photos are okay, that's not good enough. Nobody would care.
Okay.
There's about 700 million Instagram users, and their photos are okay. Right. Photos need to be.
That's the baseline for getting followers. Like you have to start with this, and only then
Yeah.
you can basically rise above the noise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you're what do you call it, a reality TV show, and then you get exposure somewhere else. If you're nothing,
you have brand assets from somebody else, from somewhere else.
Yeah. If you don't have any exposure and your photos are just okay, nobody would care.
Okay.
Like the harsh truth.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish it was that easy.
So getting to 80,000 followers, I know it's not your main focus, but do you think it's something except for the quality? Any hashtags, research, stuff like that?
Of course. Always. Well, I don't think that hashtags are the main thing right now on Instagram. Instagram does have an annoying algorithm. You don't really always fall on the best. And what I do, and I think it's one of the most important things, is really get to know your audience. Be engaged always with your audience. Always care about what they do and what they like, and talk to them, DM them, like put personals with them, and
do you
really
chat with
see.
your followers?
Of course, all the time. With the girls that I see that always commenting, and I will always see, thank you so much. I really thank you for liking my photo.
Because just appreciate. Like,
yeah. What's up? Where are you from? What are you doing? Like, and I would talk to them, and I would make real friendships from those small conversations with people, and I would meet really interesting people from around the world, and I would actually go and meet them when I'm visiting the city where they are. And I think it's really, really important, even though it is ant work. It is, you do go sometimes one by one, and you like and you comment. That's, I think, the most important thing is like, thank you for your comment. I don't know who that girl is, but thank you really
for your attention, for your time.
Thank you for a nice comment. And I will go see what other people are doing in my field and see, and will comment on their photos, and they say, oh, where did you take that photo? That's really cool. I really love your dress. Where is it from? See what other new brands are coming out, and that's something that's I think where the key is, that if you need to find passion in what you're doing. If you will not have this genuine passion, you will not go anywhere. You'll find it so boring to just comment on clothes every day, and if you don't have passion for it, it will just not gonna work.
What is your next? I don't want to say goal, because then you say it's unplanned and you kind of just do what you do. But like what would be the one thing or the three things, if it's easier, that you really want to happen for your brand? or for you, like a brand, for you as a professional photographer?
It will be always amazing to work with the biggest designers. For me, shooting runway and backstage and front row, it's always fun. I want to take it to the next level and see if I can do real partnership with the big designers. Always shoot as much as I can. It would be amazing to be like featured in Vogue every month. That would be really good. But yeah, like you said, it's nothing planned. I have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe tomorrow I have Fashion Weeks coming up. Maybe in this October after Fashion Week will be over, I'll be like, I don't want to do this anymore. From now on, I'm focusing on something else. But
Taking
for now,
pictures of pets.
yeah, that's
World's cutest dogs.
Oh, I have the world cutest dog, so that's an easy one. I already make that dream come true. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? Okay. Because we're running out of time. Let's. I want to ask.
We have one question.
Okay. So let's answer the question then.
All right.
So Danielle is asking to know, to hear about the moment that you realized your influence.
I think it's for the first brand that contacted me. I was like, wow, really? You want me? Do you think that's worth it? You're gonna send me those things, really? So then I realized that if they're willing to invest and sending these products, their baby, because for them it's their baby, their business, and they're willing to send me some stuff, I guess it's worth it for them. Yeah.
Great.
What do you think is the biggest myth you want to debunk about doing this? About being in the fashion industry, about being a photographer, or even
It's such a hard work. It's Fashion Weeks and everything. It's a lot of fun, but it's terrible. It's really like the last days are just the worst, and it is an emotional roller coaster because every time it's the same thing, and I'm really scared that I'll get to the hotel and there'll be no invitations there for me. And then I have a stack of invitations, and I start to sort it out by days, and then I miss the shows and I cannot go be everywhere at the same time, and wake up at 7 in the morning, put on your heels, put on the makeup, run around, do like 5 shows. No, 5 shows is a good case. Like London is about 10 shows a day. Coming back to the hotel at 8 in the evening. No, not 8, it's early, like around 10 in the evening. And then everybody thinks that I will go to some amazing Fashion Week parties. No, I'm in the hotel room editing, posting. So yeah, I think that's like everybody wants to go to Fashion Week. All fashion bloggers, it's their dream. That's like to really bust that myth. That's
Why do you think most of them want to go?
Well, nobody can really say in the fashion world that they work hard. It's like a thing. People work their ass off, and then they always have this glamorous smile, and they all look really, really good and happy in the camera. But it's really hard, and when you're not really experiencing it, and when it's just like a dream for you, you think it will be all like walking the red carpet and look all pretty, and the people will take photos of you, and that's it. People don't see the real hard work that you have to do in order to get there.
Yeah. What are the 3 biggest mistakes you think most people do when they try to get into this industry?
Too many selfies, involve too much of yourself. You give less credit for the brand. You don't focus on the actual thing that matters, because it's a fashion industry, it's not a selfie industry. That's the biggest mistake I think people do. People think that it will just happen. One day they will go viral, and then every post will go viral. You might go viral one time, you get lots of likes, but then the next post you will not have anything at all. That people will think it will be really easy. Third mistake.
You can have to. It's okay.
Okay, that's okay.
I think the viral myth is the biggest one. In every industry, people just gonna think
People
somebody.
think that you'll be successful overnight. It's like work only in reality TV shows. If you're in Survivor, maybe, but not so much.
Yeah, but then
anymore,
also because it's like a
nothing.
peak of interest and then it's gone. And a lot of people don't remember that there's a lot of like the one-hit wonders, even in music, which you think that once you've made it, that's it. You have to do it once.
Yeah.
And it's like even if you have one thing that is viral, not like every dog making a knob, right? Has
Yeah.
really become a grumpy cat. That's like one, right? And there was so much hard brand work into Grumpy Cat and making it what it is. And stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Yes. It is. Yeah. Well, you can use going viral as one time as a tool to keep on going up, and if you do really quality content, that will be like a good way to start, quick start. But that's just the beginning of the beginning of your work, and you have to understand. If I stop working, I will immediately see it on Instagram. I'll immediately see that people will like less. If I don't do Instagram stories, if I don't really work, it will not work.
Okay. So for the last question for today, unless there's something else, you know. Okay. So people usually see this later on, like in the morning. We get all the news in the comments. So
you can always message me if you have questions.
So at the end, we'll also like put in the details that like credentials and everything to get in touch with you. But how do you feel that becoming so focused on being a photographer and having an online brand impacts like the way you experience your day to day in terms of, you know, in terms of how you just walk around, because you're looking for the perfect shot all the time.
That's a really good question. It absolutely impacts my life 100%. I do see things in little Instagram boxes. I do frame things in a certain way, and I do look for it all around me, and it's my nature.
So like when you plan to go, because I see a lot of pictures that are kind of on the go, not on the go in terms of like how you took them, but you'll be going from one place to another. So when you leave your house, you say like, okay, this is like 10 minutes walk, but I need to plan ahead because it might be 25 because I'm gonna do a photo shoot in the middle if I see something good.
No, that's not crazy. No, that's not in that level. Well, it depends. If it's just a normal day, no, that would be a pain. If it is a special day, if I do something more interesting, yes, of course, I will definitely do that. Some days, if I know that I'm going to take a photo, I will put lipstick if I'm going to buy coffee, for example.
Right.
I have to admit, I will get prettier because I know that now I'm going to have a photo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any tricks beside, there's a term like the Instagram husband? So,
oh my god.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I know Justin is watching, so.
Yeah, so it's a thing. It's okay. We're all in this.
Yeah.
Like I always joke with my wife that we used to eat hot meals because you used to get your food and eat it, and now there's like a 15 minutes kind of photo session.
Oh, Justin, he hates it. He hates it.
We all do.
Yeah. No, I let him eat. I understand that it will be one really pretty dish on the table, and the other one will be like half eaten, and it's probably gonna be his.
Right. So you don't do that. Oh no.
I used to do that more. To be honest, I used to do that more.
Okay.
I don't do that anymore because he will divorce me.
Justin is watching, by the way.
I know he's watching. Hi, babe. I know he will get tired, and I know he will.
Right.
No, at this point, I'm not doing that anymore.
Right. So basically, do you carry on like a tripod everywhere you go so you can take a picture if you need to, or how does it work? This is the last question actually.
Yes, I do have my tripod with me often. I do have a little remote control that I will take with me if I want to take a good selfie, not like a stick. Like I have a proper professional
I call it the
tripod.
forehead selfies. Where basically like next generation we think we all had a huge forehead and small faces because of things
No,
single.
the next step will be a drone, basically a drone. That would be ideal. That's like the next.
You
one.
would buy into it?
I would do it.
There's already one out that does that.
No. There's really cool ones, and it's really easy to do. But
does
no,
it make
for
you
now.
very conscious? Like when you walk down the street and you suddenly say, "Hey, I'm gonna take a photo of me."
Oh
and
yeah,
you
that's
kind of
really
do this?
embarrassing. That's really embarrassing, especially in Florence when it's a small town and like a small neighborhood that I live in. People know me. I mean,
Neighborhood.
It's a neighborhood, yeah. And then they'll see me with a tripod and a remote control. It's a bit embarrassing, but I mean, sorry, fuck it, but I don't care anymore.
You can say fuck it. You don't have to avoid it.
I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and sometimes it is embarrassing, but I enjoy it.
Okay, so sum it up. A lot of fucking hard work. Create
Yeah.
amazing content before like the baseline for everything is creating really, really good content.
And know your clients, know your followers, and your audience.
And do the research, and like even though you see pictures that look amazing and influencers with hot girls, whatever, there's a lot of hard work to turn this into a business.
Absolutely.
Right, and even though it's like a more beautiful industry in how it's treated, there's still like the back office is still a lot of hard
It's
work.
a lot of hard work.
As an
It's not as
entrepreneurship
glamorous.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Next week we're hosting Matan.
Hmm.
Yeah, what you're not seeing right now is Danny's face as she was surprised by the fact that there's a next week, same time. We'll be hosting Matan. I'm not gonna spoil who it is because like what he does, but I'm just gonna say that titles like TED speaker, South by Southwest keynote speaker,
Buzzwords.
buzzwords.
More buzzwords.
No, it's like he made like I think most of the crazy events he does.
It's amazing.
One of the things that he do is actually that he creates musical instruments for people with handicaps and based on like brain waves and heartbeats and stuff like that. And he's a crazy, amazing, inspiring guy. So we're gonna have him here next week. By the way, I'm not sure he 100% knows that he's coming next week. So it's gonna be a surprise for everyone. And we're gonna post this to our new YouTube channel, which will be coming along hopefully about next week or 2 weeks from now. And hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, guys.